Hi Søren, I'm going to give you some feedback on your fourth assignment regarding the comprehensive approach. Um, I have been looking at structure as always, but I'm also looking at what you might improve in terms of the editing process. Um, there is a video you can refer to if you go to the Plan for English in the Plan folder. Um, my colleague Gro, who you know from I think from Svein or from Holtman, I think, has made a short video regarding the three phases of writing. I'm focusing a little bit on proofreading, but mostly on editing for these videos that I'm doing. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you might do in the editing phase with this text, but also in future. However, if I start at the beginning, you've done a preamble, which is quite nice. You've got your A section and your B section. Don't make lists, please. No lists, no bullet points, no numbers, no letters. This type of text requires prose. Lots of other text, it's fine to use the lists, the bullet points, etc., because it's a very quick and very easy way of conveying information. However, it's also something that we usually use when the information is allowed to be a bit superficial. So in this case, because it is the introduction, I would very much prefer connected prose, which you already have there. So it's just a question of deleting the A and the B and then connecting the two sentences. So it's not like it's a lot of work to do. You talk about, or you already mentioned Breitenbach in that preamble, and to me it's a bit sort of, I don't really know who this guy is if I'm pretending to be the this fictional reader that we're writing to. So introduce him, just give him a title, where he works, so that I know as a reader why his opinion is credible and why we bother with him in the first place. So there's already in the beginning, it's like you're writing to me and not to a reader. So just broaden the scope a bit in terms of who you think about as your reader. It's the well-educated, informed, but not reader who doesn't have specific military knowledge, but is able to follow your arguments anyway. So we need enough information for a non-military reader to follow along, basically. Yeah, okay. So in terms of this editing that you might consider for the future, there are places where I think you can be a little bit more precise. Let me just find this example that I had earlier. This is in section B, page 2, the second paragraph. You talk about who is supposed to be alleviating the needs of the people, and that is sort of the real task is often given to other departments with a more civilian approach. So you have the word real in quotation marks, which I think in context makes sense, because we're talking about, you also have just securing the peace in quotation marks, etc. So in that context, the quotation marks make sense. But what do you mean with a more civilian approach? There's a bit of information here that I can tell that you have, but that you're not conveying to the reader. So when you edit, you want to look for kind of information gaps where you have some information that's completely obvious to you, but maybe needed for the reader to completely grasp the nuance of what you're saying. So I understand what a civilian approach might be, because we're talking civilian versus military kind of approach to conflict. But what do you mean exactly? And do you think it makes sense when you read through that, your B section, what the NGOs are doing and what the military is doing, and the difference and the contrast between the two, and how a comprehensive approach might combine them? Just have a read through and see if you think that's sufficiently explained. If not, maybe consider how you can tweak it a little bit so that it becomes more obvious what it is you're comparing and contrasting. And that also makes you, I think, a little bit more specific in regards to why a comprehensive approach is difficult. That gives you some of the kind of like a jumping off point to explaining why we might not always be successful. I think you can, as I've read your text and read the other people's text in the class, Breitenbau gives support for why NGOs are reluctant to go into to these types of situations and why it may and may not work. Also, I'd like you to consider when you read through your text, do you think that section A and B is obviously connected? Because I want more of a strong connection between the two. Consider how you might phrase it so that there's coherence from the beginning of A to the end of B. As I think I told you last time I met, it's your bloody job to create coherence, even if the teacher's given you a bad task. That's your job as an author. I will say, however, taking or putting that to one side, there is really good fluency and really good coherence. I think I said this to you last time. You are a good writer and you are an experienced writer, but you can tweak this a little bit more. And I can tell that you haven't quite read it through carefully because there are a couple of typos that I think you would have seen if you had done some more work on this. So keep those in mind. And also there are some subject-verb agreement problems, sort of not systematically, but kind of scattered all over the pages. So pay attention to editing. Make sure there are no information gaps. Make sure that the text has coherence from top to bottom, and then do a bit of proofreading towards the end. That would be a really good idea, I think. I know this is to do with time constraints, etc., but that's how it is. Okay, I won't see you on Friday. Perhaps I'll see you out here at the Defence College. Otherwise, I hope that you are well. Bye.